Hi everyone, this is part 2 of our opening day presentation. There were 2 reasons why I stopped where I did. First reason was I was running out of time, and second reason was I just wanted to lay the groundwork to the message that we'll be sharing throughout this school year. We reviewed very briefly the 5 characteristics for our nation's most rapidly improving schools. If you do want to read anything about this particular framework, I would recommend that you wait just a little bit, because there's a brand new book that's going to be out, and it's one of Bill Daggett's. It's called Rigor, Relevance, and Relationships 2.0. He has several books that are already out. I actually use one of them to teach one of the courses that I teach at Rider. Fantastic book, but the newest one is also going to integrate the relationship role into it. So if you are interested, as soon as it comes out, I plan on reading it right away, and I'll let you know how it goes. I also wanted to take a moment again to remind you about building relationships with your students in your classroom. Last year was the first year that I noticed fun returning to classrooms over my 4 years that I've been here in Swedesboro Woolwich. It was like breathing a breath of fresh air. So thank you. Thank you to those of you who were embracing the concept that you need to enjoy what you're doing, and so do the kids. Unfortunately, as I mentioned back in 2010, reform started to take place. No one likes being told what to do. Kids don't like it. Adults don't like it. Even when we agree with what someone's saying, if we're being mandated or regulated to do it, it's not received very well. And needless to say, this particular reform initiative went even worse than that in terms of losing the enjoyment of our profession. I heard a few people say that the art of teaching is coming back. The sad thing is it never was intended to go away. The art and science of teaching is supposed to be the balance. We're supposed to blend both. And when I see teachers actually be able to take both aspects of the educational field and put them together, learn how to manage what they can manage and put their passion where they need to, it is a beautiful thing. I could do a whole soapbox on this, but I'll stop there. I do want you to keep in mind that the district intentionally decided that we were not collecting lesson plans, we were not beginning observations until the 1st of October. We want to give you that time to really build your communities in your classroom so they are well established for the school year. So as you are moving forward, I really hope that that is an area that you are focused on right now, because it will make a difference in the long run, as we all know. I just love this quote. Every child deserves a champion, and that's part of the reason why we started the year the way that we did. We want you to remember that you are the champion to kids that you don't even realize how much you mean to them. So asking the what is your why last year was critical, but continuing that with what is your who is really important, because we need to analyze what we're doing and why we're doing it, and who we are and what we bring to the table. We talked about this, and we've talked about this basically for 2 years now, that we know everything works, but what works best? I showed you some data, some content area data, and as you can see, literary text, with the exception of 1 grade level, has either been negligible, meaning kind of remained the same, or some growth. Our informational text has definitely grown. Vocabulary in our older 2 grades has definitely shown growth. But across the board, basically, our writing has not. And this is an area that I really think is holding us back. It's been a discussion at the administrative level. It's been a concern of yours. It's been a concern of mine. So when you really look at this data, it's quite interesting. You see where the switch from literary text to informational text happens. So basically you see the focus in 3rd grade to the focus in 4th grade, and where the gains have been. Where the gains weren't, the other area basically stayed consistent. So of course we want all areas to grow, but that to me is a data story that makes sense. We definitely look at the read, down, and writing, and that tells a story too. So part of analyzing 4 years worth of information is what leads us to where we are today. Now, we're not going to go too far to the right. We're not going to yell that the sky is falling. We're not writing the book A Nation at Risk. We just need to make some common sense decisions for what we're doing and really have some good, honest conversation. Now, we spent the last 4 years laying the groundwork to have this conversation. We all had to get to the same place. We all had to have the nuts and bolts of what's required to pass CUSAC. We can't do any of this until we pass state monitoring. We have to have that foundation first. And the conversation and the learning and the growth that we've gone through together over the past 4 years, we're ready. We're ready to really start questioning, analyzing, and looking at what we're doing. So it's really exciting in my world. Now, I threw out the what is your who that we're going to keep coming back to. I'm going to throw out 2 additional questions for you. When you speak about teaching, learning with your colleagues at home, friends, relatives, when you're planning your lessons, I want you to think about this question. Do you reflect more about student learning? Or do you reflect more about what you taught them? Think about that question and ask yourself that question. When you're sitting down, going back on the day, planning over the weekend, where is your focus? And most importantly, this is a question you're going to hear from the curriculum office, myself, and your principals. Are we encouraging our students to read and write enough? Are we modeling what good readers do? Are we modeling what good writers do? Are we modeling good writing, period, including from student work samples? I still have tons of my student work samples from when I taught, and that's been 19 years ago. Sad to say it, but I haven't been in a public school classroom for 19 years. College classrooms, yes, but from that 3rd grade, 5th grade, 1st grade experience, do I still keep those writing samples? Absolutely. Not all of them, but the ones that I used for teaching. Do you have yours? Do you have agreed upon samples that this is a good representation for your grade level? Do your colleagues agree what is a good representation of that grade level's ability through writing, through reading? So I'm going to throw those questions out to you because we're going to keep coming back to them. And above all, I'm going to just touch on this quickly, but really it's something that we have to move beyond compliance to making it work for real. Because dialoguing with our colleagues about what our students are learning, and using the evidence to identify what's working and what's not is the foundation of PLC time. Again, we all know, even if we agree in premise with something, the second it's mandated, regulated, you're told what to do, everyone's backs get up. But the truth about it is without PLC time, we're not going to be nearly as good as we're capable of. We need to rely on each other and have structured conversations about our students' learning. That's what PLC time is. Again, unintended consequences. Along this journey to help teachers to help with the structure of it, the curriculum office was requested to provide some guidelines and some guidance. And I get it, because teachers only want to do the right thing. They want to do the best that they can. So you're constantly asking us, am I doing it right? Is this okay? The problem with providing frameworks is sometimes it stifles the process. And I think you've relied on the framework long enough. It's not necessary. There was always that box that was there that said anything else touch base with your administration, but that was the box that was least likely to be used. So where are we? Just imagine if you took 20 extra minutes, that's it, once a week, 20 extra minutes, and you met with a team of teachers who also could give 20 extra minutes on that day. And you actually focused on a discussion about what you taught that week, what great examples of student learning you had, writing samples, responses to things you brought to the table, and you actually talked about it, looked at it, and decided what was a great resource and reference and model for our kids. What if those 20 extra minutes were partnered with the 20 minutes at the end of the day you have? And you actually, once students left, you got together in your group, you stayed 20 minutes once a week. You now would have between a 40 and 45 minute PLC weekly that you're actually sitting down talking about teaching and learning. The thing with PLCs is it's not a grade level meeting where you're focusing on the organizational minutia. You're not planning school trips. You're not talking about the Halloween parade, all of those things. The focus is on student learning. And I love this quote by DeFore: immeasurable benefit when teachers work in teams. That is, in true professional learning communities, where curriculum and lessons are continuously developed, tested, and refined on the basis of assessment results. This is the model of professional learning communities that will work. So I throw that out to you. What if you tried this just for a short period of time, instead of saying, I have an hour that I have to do this month, let's do it on this day, or let's break it up into 2 minutes on this day? Wouldn't the whole process be more beneficial and useful of your time if you could find 20 extra minutes just once a week? You don't need to produce a project or some type of document that basically 4 teachers out of 10 teachers are producing and the other 6 have no involvement. This is about talking and focusing on the learning happening in your classroom. So I throw that out to all of you. Because as we know, at the end of the day, if we're not guided by evidence, which is our student work product, the data that we're collecting, being open and willing to look at how the rest of your grade level is doing compared to how you're doing in a certain aspect, to see if your kids are not making growth. That's not the question, because of course they are. Are they making enough growth as compared to others in your grade level? And is what you're doing the best choice for what's working for your kids? All classes are different. You may need to do X with class A and Y with class B. And the only way you're going to know that is by sitting down and talking to your colleagues. So with that, I thank you for your time. This was basically the overview of the school year. Please be willing and open and ready to engage in the conversation. What's working and how do you know? Thanks so much and have a great day.